Salvete omnes. Before we begin, I'd like to give a shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. You may have wondered why we abbreviate pounds as LBS, and it's because of a strange development originating from the Latin libra pondo. Here, pondo is an adverb meaning by weight. And if you know your star signs, you know that Libra is symbolized by a set of scales. So the word Libra can refer to either a set of scales or a unit of measurement like the pound. So libra pondo means a pound by weight. But for some reason the word pound was derived from pondo and the abbreviation from libra. The word libra is also the reason why the symbol for the British pound is this L with a line through it. And we can use these words in Latin in order to say how much something weighs. Pondo septuaginta librae pendit. It weighs 70 pounds. Following the Latin order, this is by weight 70 pounds hangs. A pendulum is a weight hung from a fixed point, so you can see its connection with the word pendit. This word can mean to hang or to weigh. There are many abbreviations used in English that have taken on an English meaning, even though the abbreviation was really derived from Latin. The most notable one is probably AD, which did not actually come from after death, but instead from Anno Domini, in the year of the Lord. If you followed the lessons on this channel, you know that Dominus means master. And Domini is which case? The genitive case. So this means of the Lord. And then anno is the ablative form of annus, or year, where we get the word annual. So this is like a location in time, or in the year. Two more abbreviations like this are the ones we see on our clocks every day, AM and PM. These stand for ante meridiem and post meridiem. Look at the second half of meridiem. You recognize this from carpe diem, right? This is the accusative form of dies, or day. The first half of the word came from medius, so we can see that meridiem means midday. And these abbreviations mean before and after noon. What's useful about learning these abbreviations is that it can help you remember that ante and post always trigger the accusative when used as prepositions, as you can tell by the M on the end of meridiem. There often isn't any logical reason why one preposition triggers the ablative and another triggers the accusative, but a good way to learn these differences is to learn chunks like these, which will tell us the correct answer. And we can use post meridiem to mean afternoon in Latin. For example, tempus liberum habeo hodie post meridiem. I am free this afternoon. Notice that to say this afternoon in Latin, we say today afternoon. Another false abbreviation is RIP, rest in peace. This was originally requiescat in pace. This phrase can help you learn a more advanced topic, the subjunctive. In Lesson 8 on Paternoster, where we explored the Lord's Prayer, we saw that using the subjunctive is similar to a command, but there is an uncertainty of whether it can be carried out. A good example is, may the force be with you. So here, requiescat means may he or she rest, and in pace, as you guessed, means in peace. The next one is no longer an abbreviation, but originally percent was written like this, and stood for per centum, which means for each 100. Centum is the Latin for 100, which is where the word century, or 100 years, comes from. The next two have similar meanings and are easily confused unless you understand the Latin. The first is e.g., which stands for exempli gratia, for the sake of an example. Gratia is actually a preposition that triggers the genitive or possessive case, and this means for the sake of. But this is a synonym for thanks to, so you can see the connection to gratias, right? Try to guess what this means now. Ars gratia artis. Art for art's sake, or art for the sake of art. The other similar abbreviation is IE, which stands for id est. That is. Hopefully you know the word est, since it's probably the most common verb. And this word id is used to refer to something previously or subsequently said, without having to repeat the phrase again. So it's like saying that. But we can see now that the difference between eg and ie is that the first is used when you're going to provide an example, and the second is used when you want to further clarify something by saying, what I'm referring to is. And if you've ever wondered what PS means at the end of letters, here it is. Postscriptum. Scriptum is a text or anything written. So this means after the writing. And as we saw with post meridiem, this preposition triggers the accusative, as you can tell here with the M on the end of scriptum. Remember, learning these words as a chunk will help you to remember which case these prepositions trigger. A related abbreviation is sometimes written when a quote contains a spelling error. Next to the error, we might find sic in parentheses. This stands for sic erat scriptum, or thus was the writing. Remember, erat is the imperfect past tense of est, and is used for descriptions. And this word sic is very common and a good word to learn, meaning thus or in this way. Here's another example. Sic est vita. Such is life. And an appropriate abbreviation to end with is QED, quod erat demonstrandum. This is often used at the end of mathematical proofs because it means which was demonstrated. This might be a little confusing because we learned that quod means because, but this is actually a homonym. If you remember the word qui from qui docet discit, means who or which. We learned later in the lessons that there's a feminine form of this, qui, and quod is the neutral version. So usually at the end of mathematical proofs, the conclusion is restated, followed by QED, which was demonstrated. I guess it's the mathematical version of a mic drop. Okay, hopefully you'll see these abbreviations in a new light the next time you see them in English. See you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and if you can, help support the channel on Patreon. Gratias!